All right, day 3. Just made a tool run. Main thing I was going for was these strap wrenches. Plan on using this to hold the crank pulley while I get the bolt off. Normally you've got the cam belt on there and you can kind of prevent it from spinning because of that, but timing belt's already been loosened, but I can't get it off or put the new one on until I take the crank pulley off. So initially I was going to use these, but then I saw this that would probably work better. I think it'll open up far enough because that way I can clamp it and leave it, probably have it push up against something to hold it while I'm taking the bolt off. The old timing belt is still there, so I'll probably use it to protect the pulley when I clamp this down so it doesn't damage anything on the pulley. And I also picked up some rare earth magnets. When I figure out what shims go where, I'm going to use these to hold them in place on the followers so I don't lose them again, get them all mixed up. I also got some feeler gauges to double check my micrometer, and I'm going to go ahead and measure the shims and get them marked so I know which ones are which. So when I do get the information on which one goes on what valve, I'll have them already marked and laid out. Other than that, I just picked up some more odds and ends that I needed. And so today hopefully it's going to be a fairly quick day, but I've said that every day. Just get the crank pulley off, do some cleaning of the head and the cam towers, get all the old gasket material off, clean out any dirt or grit that might have got in there from the followers going everywhere, or the followers and the shims, and measure the shims, and hopefully that'll be it. Hopefully I can get out and enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day. I'd be out driving my Lotus if it was up and running, but I've got some other stuff I can do outside. So hopefully I can get this done in a couple 3 hours maybe, get out and enjoy the day, and then just wait on the parts to come a few more days. So, progress is slow, but it's going. No major hiccups so far. So the crankshaft pulley is off. It literally only took a minute and a half to get the bolt out, and the pulley slid right off afterwards. But it took about 45 minutes to an hour of figuring out a way to secure the crank so it just didn't spin when I tried to loosen the bolt. Normally you do it with the timing belt still on, so you wedge something between the bolt and the cam sprockets to keep it from spinning. Looking on the forums, people have also used vice grips on the crank pulley to hold it. I tried a strap pulley. I even had a large set of vice grips, like for oil filter removal, and I tried that padded with some rubber hose on it, and both of those just slipped. So next thing was to try to wedge something in the starter teeth on the flywheel, which people have done, and it worked. But from the way, the angle I had it in, it looked like it would just work as a lever and push it. You got to have somebody here holding it so it doesn't move. So I came up with this little, I got some wood blocks and came up with a little setup to keep it from moving, and that's what worked. Here's what it looks like. So I just used a pry bar from out of my Suburban spare tire kit, and it fit the teeth perfect. And then I shimmed down this piece of wood and wedged it in there to keep it from popping up out of the teeth, and then just laid some blocks of wood here against the pry bar just so it wouldn't move and act as a lever while I put the pressure on the bolt. And that's what worked well. So if you guys are out there trying to do this by yourself, this is a pretty easy way to do it once you figure out the angles and everything. And there's the timing belt The pulley and bolt. And this timing belt, this is the Blue Gates belt. It's 5 years old, has about, I don't know, maybe 10,000 miles on it. Looks in great condition. But I'm going to be this far down into having the engine apart. There's no reason not to replace this. It's a pain in the butt to do, so it's just easier to do it. So I decided to go ahead and do it. I'm going to keep this though, and I know there's not a lot of information out there on the lifespan of these. They're fairly new compared to the older technology and how long it was around. So there's really no hard, fast number on when you need to replace it. It's just basically do it as much as you can. And I had an old belt. When I bought the car back, it had a new timing belt on it from the previous owner. Yeah, I sold the car and then bought it back a few years later. There's another story that goes along with that. But anyway, and it had what I was told was a new timing belt that was only like a year old. Well, it busted while I was driving, and because this is an interference engine, bent the valves and did a lot of damage. So that's why I had the engine out 5 years ago to rebuild it. So I replaced this every option I get. All right, time to get the followers and shims clean, the cam towers clean, and the head clean. I'm also going to be using my micrometer and a set of feeler gauges to double check the shims. I'm going to go ahead and test those and write down and label them which one is which, so when it comes time to put them back in and I get the info on which ones go where, it will be a little bit easier. So yes, I'm using gloves finally. I should have been using them the whole time, but they tear so easy and get in the way when doing a lot of using them when working on sharp objects, and they interfere with manipulating tools and stuff. So, but this great for that because I'll be using brake clean and WD-40 on this stuff. So I want to keep my hand